A popular Jewish summer camp in Michigan is at the center of an anti-vaxxer controversy. This is Tamarack Camps, which recently said it is going to refuse admission to its property to any child or adult. This includes staff members, this includes parents and medical professionals and guests. Anybody who is not up to date with vaccinations is not going to be allowed on their property. And the camp acknowledges there may be parents who choose to defer or not get vaccinations for their children because of religious reasons. And they write, this is not an issue of individual rights and choice, but an issue of public health policy. And beginning this summer, the camp is going to require documentation of at least the first doses of the most common vaccines, including MMR, tetanus, diphtheria, pertussis, and meningitis. The following summer, they are going to become even more strict when saying that no child, camper, staff, artist in residence, volunteer, nobody can show up there if they don't have proper documentation of vaccination. Good policy, Lewis?
I think, yeah, it's a good policy. Why not? It's the right policy because it's one based on science and actual evidence.
And that's what's very interesting because, as I mentioned, this is a Jewish camp, and often we see religious opposition to vaccination. Rabbi Jason Miller was rabbi in residence at this camp for several years, and he wrote in Time magazine that this is absolutely the right decision. Religious objections to vaccines should be ignored here. And he has a really interesting point of view saying that vaccinations actually fulfill the Jewish value of saving a life, which he interprets to mean taking preventative measures for the whole of the community and basically saying that if there are haters, the camp should ignore them. This is so funny to me, not because I want to cheerlead one religion's view on vaccinations over another. It's interesting to me because any religion can either have a religious justification for something or religious opposition to it. And as we've seen, Lewis, we've seen plenty of religious opposition to vaccination. And now we're seeing just as easily a rabbi saying, oh, yeah, there's plenty of Jewish teachings which actually justify vaccinations. You can really justify or denounce anything you want with most religious teachings, which is what we've been saying for many years.
But this rabbi in particular only has to provide that religious justification for vaccinations because of those on the opposite end.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, and Jews are not a big anti-vaxxer community anyway, but it is interesting nonetheless. And whenever I consider this sort of anti-vaxxer trend, I end up with the same thought. Only because of the success of vaccines have anti-vaxxers had the luxury of forgetting what it's like to see outbreaks of measles and whooping cough amongst babies. And as a result, they have this privileged position of saying, I think I'm going to stop vaccinations because what have vaccinations done for us anyway? Only because of the success of vaccines is that even something that crosses their mind.
Yeah. So we haven't covered vaccinations in a while.
Yeah.
And I don't know if things are getting worse with the anti-vaccination trends in this country. We did discuss this is popping up in Canada too, and
right.
it's kind of happening all over. So it's interesting, Dave, the way it kind of ebbs and flows.
Put aside the religious stuff, based on merely science and medicine, this is absolutely the right decision. No question about it. And I applaud the Tamarack camps for instituting this policy.